Day, the 24th of March. Just want to quickly read a verse, and it's not going to seem exactly to know where I'm going to go with this whenever I read the verse, but it'll become readily apparent. I tell you that you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of Hades will not overcome it. That's from Matthew 16:18. One of the things that I'm noticing a lot with the quarantine and being backed away from so many things is that the times that I screw up become even more apparent. It's easy when you're busy to gloss over the times when you fail or the times when you aren't measuring up to the standards you should be living by. And when you have a lot of those frilly things on the side stripped away from you, and you can't get lost in the minutia of the day, and all you can do is kind of be around and notice where you're strong and where you're weak in certain areas. Sometimes those failures become very apparent, and it can cause you to end up being a little bit down. I read this verse because this was early on when Christ said this. I mean, relatively early on, and Peter makes this great confession that we still use to this day, and that Christ tells him that he even changes his name from Simon to Peter, the rock. You know, that on this rock, not Peter, but the confession that he had, that rock he would build the church, and the gates of Hades wouldn't overcome it. It's interesting. He also tells him there that he would give him the keys of the kingdom. But then what does Peter turn around and do? He denies him 3 times, failing about as bad as a disciple can possibly fail his master. It was so bad that he went and wept bitterly after he did it for the 3rd time. When the rooster crowed, here come, Jesus kind of looks at him and then takes off, and he ends up crying, realizing how bad he had failed. Of course, we know after the resurrection, Christ appeared to him along with the rest and gave him those 3 chances to once again declare his love for him. And then we know how it all worked out. After that moment of forgiveness, Peter was among the 12 on the day of Pentecost that preached. He was the one that began the preaching by preaching the first gospel sermon, thereby having the keys of the kingdom to the Jews. And then when Cornelius' household showed the outward signs, and they used that to bring him, he preached the first gospel message to the Gentiles. So he had the keys to the kingdom for everybody. None of that happens if he doesn't repent and have that godly sorrow and answer those "do you love me's" from Jesus. I think we need to understand that there are times when we allow ourselves to focus too much on when we've messed up, and we get away from doing what we're supposed to be doing because we're too upset over when we failed before. And yet we are told that if we are repentant, if we go to him and ask forgiveness, he's faithful to forgive. When he does that, we need to be forgiving ourselves and being able to move on and be able to continue to serve in the kingdom. Right now we're stuck, and we get to view a lot of what we have and what we are through the lens of not being able to gloss over it with other things. Take this opportunity to be thankful to the Lord and to live for him, and to take this chance to reach out to others, even if it's over social media. I heard the term the other day, social media missionaries. We can still be reaching out with the gospel. And the first thing we need to do is realize that when we mess up, we can be forgiven. I hope that you have a good day today, and I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.